Oh, that's so good. All right, what is going on, guys? We're doing a disc review today. We got the new Skywalker 2. We're gonna be comparing that with the first Skywalker, the Horizon one, and then the C-Line FD1 that I have in the bag. The Skywalker 1 and the FD1 C-Line are both thrown in my bag, so they're a little bit straighter than they would be new, but they fly pretty close to what they did when they were new. So yeah, just based off a feel, I would say this is a pretty flat profile, has a slight little shoulder on the rim, but that's about it. It's pretty flat in the middle compared to the Skywalker 1 is a little bit more domey, has more shoulder, and then kind of pops up a little bit more on the center. And then the FD1 is actually a pretty close profile to this new Glow one. So I mean, I have heard that it flies in between these two. Obviously, I want to find out for myself. And then I have kind of the low pigmented one, so you could call it like white or yellow or whatever, but it's the essentially uncolored glow plastic. So yeah, we'll see how they compare and fly. Both of these are in my bag right now, so I love these. So I'm curious to see if this is different enough to have a spot in the bag. I'm guessing probably not. But who knows, maybe it'll replace one of them. I'm gonna give them some tosses and let's see how they fly. I just wanna get a few warm-up shots in though. I feel like I always do these things cold and I don't always get the best shots. So I just wanna throw a few putters first and get the body warmed up a little bit. All right, should be good enough. Let's just start with the new guy here. So, you know what? Let's go with the original C-Line one first. This thing's still pretty stable, but it gets a little bit of straight push and then fades out pretty good for me. Oh, that's a good shot. Went nice and far, just pushes straight for a little bit and then fades out on hyzer. We have a tail, a little bit left to right wind right now. So I think it's probably more tail, so it kind of just pushed it and then faded out. Never wanted to flip up or anything. Now we'll go with the Skywalker 1. Should flip up a little bit on that same angle. Yep, that straight push. Pretty much hit that on the exact same angle. Just went dead straight, but it pushed straight even on hyzer most of the flight and then just faded out soft at the end. Let's see this first shot with this thing. I'm excited. Oh, okay. That's got stability for sure. I threw that on a low, more penetrating line on hyzer still, so it wasn't that far from the other two, but it didn't want to go straight. It just wanted to fade it out. As of right now, I would say that thing is the most stable out of all of those three. Maybe it would have been different when the C-Line one was new, but right now, that Glow one flew more overstable than the C-Line for sure. All right, guys, so we got a very interesting result. This new Glow Skywalker 2 went about 360, and then the C-Line was about 15 feet straighter and right of it, and this thing was about pretty much pin high with the C-Line one, but right. So it was kind of perfect. This Horizon one just went straight and dropped on the right. The C-Line just kind of went straight and faded out slow, and the new one essentially was fading the whole time, but still got good distance. It wasn't that far in distance from these two, and it still went 360, so that was money. Now we actually have a pretty decent headwind right now, so I want to throw them in the headwind on a little bit of hyzer and just see how they react, because this guy, I'll throw on a little bit of hyzer if I want it to flip. This FD1 I'll throw if I want it to be dead straight into headwind, but they don't go that far, maybe like 340 or so into the wind. But this thing, I feel like I could still give it a good rip, and I'm curious to see if it flips up at all. All right, so we'll start it off with the C-Line again. I'm just gonna try to throw it straight out there, flat, see where they go. It could go left, so I gotta be careful with the walkers. Okay, so I did throw that flat. It came out pulled a little bit, but it did flip up and just go straight for a while at that tree. So you know that into a headwind, that thing doesn't really want to stay on hyzer. It flips up and just pushes straight for a while. I'm sure if it missed those trees, it would fade out at the end there. But this Skywalker, I'll show you what kind of angle you need to put this on so that way you can compare it to that thing. But I'm gonna put it out on a little bit of hyzer off to the left, and we'll see the drift it gets. Okay, so yeah, I pretty much threw it flat out to the left, and it started turning right and just went right the whole time. It did kind of pan out and like almost slide forward at the end, so it does have a little bit of stability at the end, but it definitely wants to turn over and get that drift. Now let's see this new guy. Try to rip it flat, see what it does. Oh, that's so good. That's like at my bag, and I'm like 20 feet further than I was when I picked up my disc. So that might've gone like 360, 370 into the wind just because it's so stable, and I was able to throw it flat and it just went dead straight. It kind of flew how the C-Line one flies without wind. So that could be a really good addition to the bag. I really like that. All right, guys, so the C-Line FD1 hit a tree, but it probably would have gone around the same distance as the other two. The Skywalker 1 actually went further than the Skywalker 2 just because it stayed up and glided right for so long and actually stayed in the air. But the Skywalker 2 did go pretty far and just held a perfectly straight line in the headwind, which I loved. So that's awesome. This disc definitely has a lot of potential and will probably be going in the bag just because it flew so good into that headwind. I like that a lot. That was kind of really all I wanted to show. I'm probably not really gonna be throwing flex lines with these. It's more so just like pushing hyzer shots and like hyzer flip ups into the wind. So now I just wanna throw some little forehands, because sometimes I will throw these discs on little like forehand stand-up lines and just nice little shots where you need it to go straight. So yeah. We'll throw it on the little stock hyzer line that I actually would throw it on, and go with the FD1 C-Line first. So that just goes straight and fades out. Doesn't really want to flip up. Like I said, we have a little tailwind coming back on this side. So I actually really like that shot with that disc. Now we'll go with this. It should flip up a little bit, but go pretty much dead straight and land flat. Yeah, so flip up, a little bit of turn, lands dead center in the line that I started it on after turning a little bit. So that's useful too, if you want a little hyzer flip and, you know, kind of a touchy woods shot. Now we'll go with this. I think it should stay on hyzer and fade out pretty good at the end. Could be a nice little forehand disc, honestly. Oh yeah, that's smooth. So I threw that harder on a touch of hyzer, and it just pushed straight for the initial part of the flight, then faded out pretty good. I actually got a pretty good fade to the right at the end there. So could be a good little sidearm disc, maybe around like 300, 320 or so, just for a nice smooth hyzer that you don't want a lot of skip. So yeah, that was nice. All right guys, that's it. So we got the C-Line, the Skywalker 2, and the original Skywalker. The original Skywalker is for sure the flippiest. The C-Line FD1 right now in its stage of wear is straighter than the Skywalker 2. It's hard to tell which one was more overstable at first. To me, it almost feels like this one is more overstable, but they're probably pretty close. I don't quite remember exactly how overstable this thing was when it was new, but I do remember it was pretty stable, so they're probably close. This one does have a little bit more of a low profile hand feel. It feels really good in the hand, and to me, it looked really gummy in the photos, but it's actually not that gummy. It's got a pretty good stiffness. It's a little bit gummier than the C-Line, but I wouldn't say it's gummy at all. I'd say it's just kind of a neutral stiffness. So yeah, that's it. Is it gonna be in the bag? Maybe, we'll see. I don't know if I have room in the bag. My bag's really good and dialed right now. So I don't exactly need this slot, but maybe it'll replace one of these in the future or right now. We'll see. I'm gonna keep throwing it, but thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.